Griffin the Griffin by BlackWing. Chapter 44. Food and Flag. Hello once again, audience! When we left off, Griffin had dropped off the main six-shot port and had reached the first of the Zebra Isles in the archipelago. Well, we're here. The Zebra Archipelago. Hard to believe it wraps around the whole ocean. Yep, a zigzag of islands dotting the Ring Sea, going all the way from the western shore of Equestria to the eastern one, Gilda said. So what are we doing here, anyway? Trixie asked. Well, a couple of things. First off, resupply. We're running out of fresh fruits and vegetables, and so we need to load up. Once we've done that, we'll try to find a doctor for our crew, and finally, we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into. Sounds good to me, Nadine replied. I really just hope there aren't any spiders. Lightwind, when the ship drops anchor, set up a perimeter. Shimmer, you alright staying here with Steelhorn? The little dragon pulled a pair of steampunk goggles off her eyes and smiled while the Minotaur patted her on the head. You got it! I'm helping make the rest of the scale armor. Building a laser cannon took up a lot of time, so they're not finished yet. Alright. Good on you. Tears, stay with the ship. Selma, I'd like you to come with. We might need you with the negotiation. Gilda, Nadine, Maria, Etch, Growl, Sema, Trixie, and myself disembarked, while the cats dropped down on ropes that had been tossed over the edge and began setting up a temporary position under the ship, with the Rangers still on board acting as lookouts. We began walking to the jungle, me taking the lead and keeping my eyes wide in case there were spiders. Thankfully, there weren't. There was, however, mangoes, and bananas, and coconuts, and oranges, and pineapples, and lychee fruit, and a plethora of various other tropical fruits. Also, perfect. By my advice, Steelhorn had bought canning facilities so that we could store food long term. It would definitely come in handy considering just how much we have here. Who wants a pina colada? I took a pineapple and a coconut, slicing them both open with my sword, then pouring the juice into the coconut shell and drank some. I passed it around. Everyone seemed to enjoy it. Now if only we had some rum to go in it. Damn Pinky, why is the rum always gone? Ah well, nothing we can do about that. I'm not convincing that Minotaur to buy a distillery, and I don't need alcohol anyway. Just one more thing for me to get addicted to. Scouting around, I couldn't find any villages. Where are the zebras? Shouldn't they be here? These are the Zebra Isles, so where are they? Never mind. Looks like this island is a no-go for civilization. Load up on food and we'll move to the next one. Back at the ship, we began unloading the food we had gathered. Mari and Selma began canning some, while the cats ate some for lunch along with the rest of us. Well, at least we'll never get scurvy. Maybe once we get our country set up, we could run back and forth between the islands for food. That way we'll have fruit, clams, fish, and all other sorts of stuff. Speaking of that, Griff, do we have a flag? Gilda asked, which surprised me. There was a flag at top of the ship, but it was just a play-grain square. She's right. We'd have to do something about that. I walked to the on-board forge, where Shimmer was blowing her lungs out heating it, while Steelhorn was hammering away on something. Hey, Steelhorn! Mind if I change the flag? Yeah, go ahead. You're the captain right now. You can do whatever you want. Flying up to the top spire, which was really just a small flagpole put on the ship, I took the drab piece of gray down and brought it to the crew. They all looked at me, and I just shrugged. Well, I'm not an artist. If I try, it'll turn out looking like crap. This is going to be our flag, our pride. It has to make a statement about who we are. It has to be as awesome as we are. Anybody here know about art? Don't look at me, I just kill things, Gil replied. I can make paint, but I can't use it, Nadine said, hanging her head. I deal more in light shows than paint, Trixie said. I can try, Mari offered weakly. Etch and Growl stayed quiet. Well, come up with a design to show me, and we'll see. Everyone else left, and I walked up to her. Hey, I'm glad to see you're trying. Don't worry, you'll find something you're good at. Who knows? This might be it. We've all had our own little ways that we help. This could be yours. It's also good that you've been training so hard with Nadine. I'm proud of you, Maria. I patted her on the head and then took out some paper for her to try and come up with some designs. She was happy to be helping, even if it didn't turn out. Great, I'm turning into a father figure. Well, then again, we are a family after all. So, please, be honest. I looked over her designs and cringed. Well, this one isn't so bad. Maybe art just isn't your thing. In fact, it's pretty much nobody's thing. The point is you tried, and it's still better than anything I could come up with. Growl came in and laid a single piece of paper on my desk, then walked out. On it was the image of Hades, my sword, not the Greek god, pointing upwards with 2 red wings flared, one on either side, coming out from the handle on a field of white. A slight gold outline was around all the objects on it. It was good. Really good. I like it. Growl, wait up! I chased after him, and I found him in his room, getting his paints ready, holding a white piece of fabric. I still had the previous flag in my room. He somehow gotten one of his own. Yes? He asked innocently. You never told me you were an artist. I don't say much. Well, this is really good. I showed him his work. I like it. Do it. Aye, aye. Well, everyone, here we are, our flag. The blade pointed upwards, symbolizing that we can overcome and rise above everything. The wings of red, that we buy our freedom, and the freedom of others with the blood of the wicked, as well as our own. This is the flag, not only of our ship, the possibility, but of the nation we shall found upon our victory. We are the harbingers of change. I held my blade aloft, letting it shine in the light of the setting sun as well as its own faint glow. It was met with a massive cheer. The cats roared, the dogs howled, and the griffins screeched. Trixie yelled, "Yeah!" and I smiled. Let's give a cheer for Growl, who made this masterpiece of our hearts. Another cheer rang out. They were really riled up. And now, let us hoist this flag and declare ourselves to the world! Trixie jumped on my back, strapping in her rear hoofs instead of all 4, as she was much more comfortable with the front once free, and held the flag between them as I flew around the ship, the cloth flapping in the wind behind us to the cheers of those on board, before flying up to the top and trying it on through the metal-lined holes on the side, to the metal rings on the pole. There was a fairly strong wind, making the flag whip quickly. Satisfied, we flew back down, where Maria came out from below. "Dinner's ready!" she called, to which she was nearly trampled by the hungry crew. Cobblers, pies, glazed vegetables, and the like filled the mess hall. We all ate heartily. It was delicious, spiced to perfection, with all the flavors blending perfectly. This is really good, Maria. Did you make this? Well, yeah, Selma helped, but... I did no such thing. All I did was give pointers, the old hag of a cat replied. Well, I think it's fantastic. Where'd you learn how to cook? Well, I've just been on my own for a while. I eventually got good at it. Well, that's perfect. I can cook, but nothing near this level. Guess who just found her place on this ship? I think the crew will appreciate having some home-cooked meals. And with Selma giving pointers, along with the fact that we're at food-filled islands, we'll never go hungry. See, I told you you'd find your place. Well, I didn't think it would be useful. It's just cooking. Just cooking? Maria, cooking is one of the most important skills a person can have. No army marches on an empty stomach. You're making sure we're all in health, in peak health by our nutrition. Don't sell yourself short. In addition to our fighting skills, I've got my science and magic as well as strategy. Gilda has her strategy and experience. Nadine has her potions. Trixie has her magic. Growl has apparently art. And both he and Echo are good at building and getting supplies. Shimmer and Steelhorn have their forging. Selma and Tiras have their charisma and wisdom, leading their own people. And you have your cooking. They're all important. No task is less important than any other. Pretty soon, we'll wonder how we ever got by on the raw stuff we've been eating before. She was blushing furiously. Oh, stop it, you. Sit and eat before it gets cold. Yes, ma'am. I continued eating, Maria smiled, having finally found her place. Next morning, Maria had already gotten up and started breakfast, the smell of eggs wafting down through the ships as well as fruits. Here you go! She was wearing an apron, and had already started setting out the food. She and Selma were working overtime to get food for the 45 of us, all laughing as we ate the fantastic food. Well, Maria, didn't I say you'd figure it out eventually? And you should stick with Selma? Yes, you did. And was I right? Yes, you were. Are you happy? She stopped to think for a moment, then smiled. I am. That's good. We're a family, and if you're happy, we're happy. Family. After breakfast was over, I was standing on the deck, letting the wind ruffle my feathers. Mari and Growl both came up to talk to me. Hey, what's up? I wanted to thank you, she answered. For what? For giving me a family again. You know, you never told us what happened to yours. I mean, you don't have to tell us if you don't want to. Just when you're ready, we'll be here to listen. I never knew my family, but I was told they were taking us slaves in the mine. I was raised by an old man who taught me how to survive. Well, everything other than how to fight. I never knew his name. It was just Geezer. He was old and he got sick. Eventually he died and I was all alone again. I left the Dominion and went to Equestria. I was maybe 10 when it happened. I couldn't work, so I stole to survive. I did it for years until I eventually got caught right before I made it to the jungle. I got careless and made a slip-up, she explained. She wasn't sad or anything. My guess was she had a long time to get over it. So then you were a thief for a while. Well, that explains why you ran from the guards and us. You wouldn't fight, you'd hide or run. Yeah. Well, that makes you a perfect match for Nadine. She's stealthy too. That should be your combat focus. I figured I'd be a brawler, but I'm actually more of a combination between that and magic class. I take other brawlers. Basically, I'm glad I have you and Nadine both on my side, because you two could probably beat me if I was on my own. I really need to work on my speed. I think from now on, I'll train wearing my scale mail and wearing weights so I can improve on how fast I move. I think I rely on my sword too much. I guess I'll be your sparring partner from now on. She smiled and went back inside. Now it's just me and Growl. So, what's on your mind? Nothing. Just wanted to look at the sky, he replied stoically. We both just gazed up at the clouds. There were a few birds, and the sun still hung there in the sky, making the ship glimmer in its light. That was a good speech yesterday, Growl suddenly spoke. It was, wasn't it? You said exactly what I had in mind when I made it. We both gave a bit of a chuckle. I'm pretty good at that, and the flag declares itself well. We were silent for a little while longer, each taking in a deep breath and then sighing. You're always so quiet. You're the only one that makes me wonder what's going on in your head. Why did you decide to come with us? You could have gone anywhere, but you went with us, I asked, and he lowered his head. I could have, but I didn't. There isn't any point thinking about what would have happened if I didn't. But the reason I joined is because of the way you carry yourself. All my life I wanted to be an artist, to make things of beauty instead of just dig up gems and eat them. When you spoke of freedom, of toppling the system that has kept us down, letting us all be ourselves, it sparked a fire that I thought had long since gone out. He leaned over the railing. I see. Freedom for all. There's an actual saying where I come from. Give me freedom or give me death. The people were oppressed by royalty who simply used them to further their greed. Then there was a revolution, and as the soldiers charged, that is what they cried. Better to be dead than a slave. The Diamond Dogs are slaves to their alphas, and yet they do not realize it. The few that do speak are killed for trying to overthrow the leader, he explained. We both sat there for a while longer. You know, there's a reason I called the new tribe the White Wind. Because like a great gust, you shall wash over the land, blowing away all that is corrupt and purifying the evil and hate that plagues it, he replied, which shocked me slightly. How'd you know? We are not so different. I am artistic, using paint and clay to form a picture, to bring feeling. You use words. We are both poetic. I am silent because I let my art speak for me, while your art is your words, he explained. Charisma? Yes, I suppose you're right. Words can be just as much of an art form as lines and color. Remind me to let you design the Parliament building when we start our own country. Parliament? I thought you would be the king, he was surprised. Well, yes, but I'd be far more of a figurehead than an active participant. I know for a fact that running a nation is hard work, something I don't have the experience with, so I'd let the nation rule itself. Each hold would elect a member to represent them, who would make laws and devise plans to care for the people, and I'd be more of a mediator. I keep them in line when tensions begin running, and they no doubt will. And I remind them that even though they're the ones running the country, I'm the only one that rules it, and they bow to me. Despite what everyone believes or what I like, I can't do everything. And monarchies are too unstable. What if my successor is cruel, or his? As soon as someone takes the throne, everything changes. As king, I'd only rule the council, keep them in line, change them out when needed. The council would lead the nation, and would be made up of the people. The only purpose would be to prevent them from being corrupt. Yes, that is a good way to do it. But what of those who come after you? The next king would be chosen by me. Or if no successor is chosen, then the council would choose one. And it can't be one of them. It would be an outstanding citizen who has proven themselves worthy. And above all, does not want the role. The only ones fit for power are those who do not seek it, but have it thrust upon them and find that they bear it well. If the king isn't working out, they'd take him out of his seat and find a replacement. I'd set up a number of unbreakable, unchangeable rules for stuff like that even the king and council cannot change, and let them work to the rest of it. You have thought on this frequently, haven't you? He asked. Indeed I have. I was actually wondering what you thought of it. You and Trixie are the only ones who have an ear for my philosophies, and you've never given your inputs on them. That is because I agree with all you have said. You hold a firm belief, and I find it to be matching my own. I'm glad you're here. Sometimes I wonder if they get me at all. You know how to listen. You know how to think. You understand me, without having to give a huge explanation. I'm not sure why you're so wise, but I'm glad you're here, Growl. Anyway, we'll have more time to think about it when we get there. We should get back to work. We're moving to the next island in an hour.